Growth was held at Emmanuel Congregation, Medina, from 29th to 30th April 2021. This was attended by Presbytery officers, district ministers, district lay representatives, clerks, and representatives of district groups. Also, representatives of National Union of President Students and the youth were in attendance. The following were the affirmations that were made at that consultation. The focus was to actually give more analysis to our statistical data and manage it very well. To retain the youth and adults in the church, and focus should be on the children and the junior Y. We also looked and affirmed a new approach to the orientation of newcomers or new members. Again, Christian nature and discipleship should be a goal and our hallmark. There was also the need to attract the middle class members of our congregations and that of the society. One of the affirmations was also to strategize for urban ministry. We also looked at or affirmed the training of several service providers, especially the ushers. We also employed district and congregations as well as preaching points to intentionally update and use technology in their worship service. The Presbytery also participated in the national consultation on evangelism and church growth held at Abetifi Kwewu from 16th to 19th November 2021. Another area of focus in the area of mission evangelism is the Panorama Competition that was held at the Pineal Congregation Tertiary in the Tertiary District. The Presbytery led by the Department of Mission and Evangelism, in collaboration with the Committee on Mission and Evangelism of the Tertiary District, held a Panorama Competition on Friday, 27th August 2021 at Tertiary. Panorama, which took place, involved various groups of groups in the community organized under the flags composing of contemporary issues, among others. The maiden event organized by the church brought 8 groups under different flags together in singing competition. Each flag was tasked to come out with a kpan. A kpan, that's a traditional Homowo song, using the content of John 3, 1-10. Prizes were awarded to participating flags or groups on Sunday, 5th September, at the Pineal Congregation during the forenoon service. Crusade at the University of Ghana. The Presbytery Department of Mission and Evangelism, in consultation with NUBSG and the University Christian Fellowship, organized a crusade at the University of Ghana, Legon, from 1st to 3rd October 2021. Reverend Chris Barnati was the guest preacher for the 2 nights, and the moderator preached the sermon on the Sunday. Department of Mission, Department of Administration and Human Resource Management, Land Administration. The main goal was to obtain land title certificates for all the lands in the presbytery. It was difficult to have the districts compile a database on all the lands under their jurisdiction. To date, the presbytery has information on the status of registered lands in the presbytery from only few districts. Out of 312 land reported, only 103, that is 33%, have land title certificates. And another 109, that is the 35%, are covered by indenture. The litigation going on in some of the districts involve properties that we must actually work on to redeem, and that the church cannot afford to lose such properties. The effort to register lands in the presbytery will be further pursued in the coming years. Building of pavilion in deprived communities. The presbytery, supported by the General Assembly Office, built and dedicated 3 pavilions during the year under review. The services were officiated by the Reverend Dr. Abraham Nana Oparekwachi, Presbytery Chairperson, assisted by Reverend Solomon Mason Ajay, the Clerk of Presbytery, and the Presbytery Council. And the following pavilions were dedicated: the Okushibri Preaching Point Pavilion in the Tamanoa District on Easter Monday, 5th April 2021. Katapo Preaching Point in the Taifa District on 31st October 2021. Lower Pampram Preaching Point in the Tamamahian District on 15th August 2021. The cost of building the pavilion ranged from 80,000 Ghana cedis to 100,000 Ghana cedis. In addition to this, the President ceded 9 of its pavilions to the General Assembly Office. In all, the Presbytery has therefore built 12 pavilions. Centenary Court. The Presbytery commenced the construction of a 4-story apartment Centenary Court to accommodate some of its staff. A salt cutting service was performed on 11th June 2021 to commence works by the Reverend Dr. Godwin Ino Odonko, the Clerk of General Assembly. He was assisted by Reverend Dr. Nana Oparekwachi, the Chairperson of Presbytery, and Reverend Nimesa Sanjay, the Clerk of Presbytery. The 4-story Department of Economical and Social Relations. The Redemption Congregation in Tamanoa District donated a finished computer lab equipped with computers. The Easter visitation to police cells and prisons, that is prison ministry, has now become a major ministry of the Presbytery, as districts continue to visit police cells and prisons and make donations to them as part of the Easter celebrations. Department of Development and Social Services. Tree planting exercise. The Presbytery planted 4,260 trees, which are not captured in the table. However, we acknowledge that more effort is being done so that these trees will be maintained. The Presbytery did a symbolic planting of trees at Sesame in the Abokobi district and Grace Congregation in the Tama Community 1 district. Most of the districts and congregations also did their symbolic planting of trees on that particular day. Jesus Christmas Street Party. In December, the Presbytery, in collaboration with the General Assembly Office, organized the second edition of the Jesus Christmas Street Party in the Medina district. The event came on Sunday, 26 December, on the streets of Medina. A total of 3,000 children and vulnerable adults and persons were fed with one hot meal. All children also had gifts of school books and other learning materials. In attendance were the moderator, the clerk of General Assembly, and the Medina district minister, among others. Department of Finance. Percentage contribution system. The 24 districts in the Presbytery contributed a total of 14,894,455 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos in respect of direct deposits to the General Assembly office via district-specific codes. The breakdown of the amount are as follows. General income, 13,267,172 cedis, 15 pesos. Harvest income, 1,627,283 cedis, 60 pesos. The total contribution to the GA office for 2021 saw a sharp increase of 59.56% over that of the previous year. The waiver of the Presbytery 15% share of contribution for 2 months, that is in August and September, brought significant financial relief to the congregations and districts in the Presbytery. They hope this will continue as it will assist them deal with some of their financial difficulties. Department of Education. Performance of senior high schools. The performance of senior high schools in the Presbytery continue to be abysmal. More needs to be done to improve the academic performance in our schools. Support for schools. The residence of the head teacher of Presbytery was renovated as a way to improve the infrastructural development in our schools. Department of Church Life and Nature. Attendance to church services and group meetings. The average attendance to church service increased by 9.6%. That is from 69,269 to 75,893 in the year under review, falling short of the target 77,219. The benchmark target is 12%. The highest increase of 12.8% occurred in the adult and junior Y services, while the children's service had only 2.2% increase, which is woefully inadequate. This was mainly the result of late opening of the children's service as a result of the COVID-19 restrictions. On the contrary, attendance to group meeting declined by 9% from 21,888 in 2020 to 19,921 in 2021. The decline affected all groups, with the highest decline of 12.9% occurring with the Women's Fellowship. Notable events. Inductions. The following were inducted into office. The officiating minister was the Presbytery chairperson, Reverend Dr. Abraham Nano Parekwache, assisted by Reverend Nimesa Ajay, the clerk of Presbytery. Those inducted into offices were Reverend Samuel Niuku Norte, Ashalebocho District, Reverend Felix Asanti, Adintan District, Reverend Joseph Lavin Oman Okwe, Commission Field, Reverend Anthony Ani, Minister in Charge, PWC Legon. Mr. Eugene Lai, Regional Manager of Schools, Mr. Vincent Esau, Headmaster of Presec, Usu, moderators visit. The moderator of the General Assembly, Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obi-Yeboamante, paid a one-day working visit to the Sakuno district on 23rd May 2021 to worship with them. Dedications. The Chapel of Shalom Congregation in the Osu district was dedicated on 23rd May 2021. The service was officiated by the chairperson of Presbytery. New Presbytery official vehicles. The Presbytery procured 2 new official Toyota Hilux vehicles to replace the old ones. The first one was for the general use. The first one, which was for general use, was dedicated by the Clerk of General Assembly, Reverend Dr. Godwin Odonko. The short ceremony was witnessed by members of the Standing Committee and staff of the Presbytery office. The second one, which is being used by the Mission and Evangelism Director, was dedicated by Reverend Dr. Victor Okwabe, the immediate past chairperson of Presbytery and now District Minister of Committee 2 Tama. This was witnessed by the staff of the Presbytery office and some council members. Commissioning of ministerial probationers. The Presbytery hosted the commission of 11 ministerial probationers at the Greenwich Meridian Congregation, Tama Committee 1 District, on 2nd July 2021. The service was officiated by the moderator of the General Assembly, Right Reverend Professor J.O.Y. Mante, assisted by Reverend Dr. Godwin Odonko, the Clerk of General Assembly, and the General Assembly Council. Hosting of 2021 General Assembly. The Presbytery successfully hosted the 2021 General Assembly at the Victory Congregation, Fafraha District, from 16th to 19th August 2021. The Presbytery presented souvenirs to all commissioners and donated 10,000 Ghana cedis to the Fafraha District as a support for the hosting of the GA. Children's Service Centenary Celebration Thanksgiving Service. The Thanksgiving service for the Children's Service Centenary Celebration was hosted by the Presbytery at the Ebenezer Congregation, Osu, on 21st November 2021. The Grand Roll service was officiated by the moderator, Right Reverend Professor J.O.Y. Mante. He was assisted by the Clerk of General Assembly, Reverend Dr. Nino Odonko. Graduation and consecration. The Presbytery School of Ministry held a graduation and consecration service at the Bethel Congregation, Tree Blood, in the Teshi District on 18 December 2021. A total of 23 students graduated. 8 received an advanced certificate in theology at the Catechist Division, while 15 graduated with certificate in theology in the Participation Division. The graduation ceremony was performed by Reverend Professor B.Y. Kwashi, board chairperson of the school. The 8 catechists and 4 others who graduated from the Ramsia and Isaban training centers were consecrated by the chairperson of Presbytery, Reverend Dr. Abraham Nano Parekwache, assisted by the Clerk of Presbytery. The guest preacher was Reverend Professor Eric Anum. Major challenges that confronted us in the Presbytery. One of the major challenges that continue to bedevil the Presbytery is the number of litigations and encroachment on the church's land. The Presbytery is strengthening the district property committees so that they could find lasting solutions to this problem. Again, several congregations continue to require financial support to complete their projects. To address this, the Presbytery has revamped its land administration fund and resourced it. New strategic focus. In order to achieve the overarching goals of the 10-year strategic plan and the Vision 1.5 agenda, the Presbytery intends to create some new districts next year. These are Atomic Hills, Sibripo, and Ashaiman North districts. In the future, other districts will be created in the Commission field. Further, the Presbytery will establish churches in new emerging communities. The Miucho area near Pampram and Botiman near the motorway are communities that are being explored for this project. The Presbytery will also celebrate her anniversary centenary next year. As part of the celebration, a centenary court will be put up at Teshin, and a sword will be cut to commence the construction of a cancer center at Katamanso. This is to fulfill our social responsibility and thank God for His goodness and faithfulness to the Presbytery and the Present Church of Ghana as a whole. Note of gratitude. My dear Christian friends, my brothers and sisters in the Lord, 4 years ago in a similar forum, you elected me as the clerk of Presbytery. As I bring my service in this office to a close this year, it is important to me that I express my heartfelt gratitude to you all for the confidence you reposed in me. I hope I have not disappointed you. But more importantly, I thank God who called me to His service and enabled me to serve Him faithfully through this presbytery. Praise and honor be to His name. While I appreciate all of you for your wonderful cooperation and support, which has brought me thus far, permit me, on this very occasion, to mention few people and express my personal gratitude to them. My gratitude goes to my predecessor and friend, the Reverend Dr. William Kolekwe, who always provided the needed guidance when the need arose. At that way, thank you very much. I'm equally grateful to the two chairpersons I had the privilege to work with. First, the Reverend Dr. Victor Oko Abe, that quiet and soft-spoken gentleman who not only helped me to settle in my job, but brought his influence to bear on me. Sir Victor, I say thank you. He's not here, but he will come. Again, the Reverend Dr. Abraham Nana Opayokwache, my bosom friend and pal, who I describe as a workaholic, or rather a bulldozer of a worker, who would drag me along the path of his great ambitions for the presbytery. Nana, thank you very much for the great and wonderful moments we shared together. My bosses, you were all wonderful people, and you still are. And I enjoy working with you. God bless you all. To the two lay reps in the persons of Mr. J.M.B. Tete and Engineer Ludwig Anna Hesse, I say thank you to you. Mr. Tete was always around to provide the needed support. May you, on this occasion, join me to wish Mr. Tete a speedy recovery. For Kofi, your guidance in the writing of reports, especially in the face of the strategic plan, has been phenomenal. Without you, I would have struggled. A similar appreciation goes to the Presbytery IC, who always provided the materials and assisted me to compile my report. I also want to express my appreciation to Mr. Ivan Isebe, who without him, I couldn't have finished the presentation for the past 4 years. He actually has been analyzing and presenting the statistics. And I guess today you will do it again. Thank you, Mr. Isebe. Again, to all district ministers, district sessions, directors, and committees, presbytery groups, committees, presbytery groups and committees, boards, ministers, catechists, caretakers, and all who helped me in my work in one way or the other, I say thank you to you all. God richly bless you. My gratitude goes to the Presbytery staff, those who actually are my backbone and pillar of support. I say thank you to you all for the support and effort you put to make my work easy. We will have a better time to show appreciation and say farewell. And for my friends, I say to you, you have been wonderful. I thank you for your guidance and pieces of advice that influenced my path. It also frightened my way for me. Finally, my special appreciation goes to my family, my lovely wife Peggy, and our daughter Nadomo, who supported me in season and out of season. I thank you, and God richly bless you. Who have fun when all is done. Keep on sacrificing. God richly bless you. And now, Reverend Chairperson, as I bring my address to a close, I now move that this address should be accepted and discussed at our session. Thank you, and God bless you all. Amen.
Thank you very much, Papa Clerk. We will all together rise on this occasion that is his final report and give him a standing ovation. We thank you, Clerk, for that report. I noticed that the clerk, in bringing his report to us, has moved. But there is a part B of his report that we are yet to receive. And therefore, we'll receive the part B, after which we'll allow him to now move for the adoption of the report. We would invite Mr. Ivan Esegbe to present the part B of the clerk's report.
Thank you, Chairperson, and peace be unto you all. IT room, can I have the statistics? Thank you. So this is the presentation outline. Next slide. We'll look at the Presbytery Statistics, Ministers' profile, membership breakdown, membership growth rate, district growth rate, the size of the population, ministers to church members ratio, percentage of communicants, conclusions and recommendations. Next slide. So this is the Presbytery Statistics. You have them later in your pack. Next slide. So the statistics for 2021, ministers, we have 201, cut case 225. The district remained 24, 1 mission field, NOP this time 4, membership 155,343. Next slide. And this is the breakdown of the ministers. So ordained full-time, 104, ordained tenths, 83, probationers, 8, probationers full, 8, tenths, 6, and retired, 37. Next slide. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Next slide, yes. So this is the rate of growth of the ministers. For ministers, for agents, ministers, we grew by 5%, adding 10 to our number, which is 191 in 2020, 201 in 2021. Catechists, we went up by, we dropped from 226 to 225. Caretakers, 2, we dropped. Evangelists, 2, we dropped. Presbyters, we dropped. And IMC members, that one, we saw an increase of about 70%. Next slide. So, growth of the contact points. Congregation, we went up by 2%. Preaching points, also 2%. NOP, we dropped to over 40%. Next slide. Again, our gender ratio, the female are more than us, that's 59%. Next slide. Proportion of generational group. So children's service, 23%, JY, 13%, YPG, 16%, YAF, 15%, adults, 33%. So the adults, they are about a third of our population. Next slide. Now let's look at the growth rates among the generational group. And the first one is children under 12. Papa, I report that 8 districts reported missing members. I said missing members because the growth rate indicated negative growth. So we have La districts losing 16% of their under 12 age group. Next slide. Growth rates, ages between 12 and 18. Here, all the districts reported positive growth rates. So the Presbytery making about 8% growth rates here. Next slide. Ages between 18 and 13. And 30, 18 and 30. Chairperson, again, 5 districts reported negative growth. And we have Nungwa registering over 20% members living there. Next slide, please. So ages between 30 and 40. Here, I report that all districts reported positive growth. Next slide. Ages 40 and above. Ages 40 and above. Here, I report that 5 districts also reported missing members. And we have the mission field reporting 33% loss. Next slide. The generational growth rates. So at the presbytery level, children less than 12% grew by only 2%. JY, 8%. YPG, 7%. YAF, 11%. Adult, 6%. Giving the presbytery 6%. Next slide. So let's look at a close analysis of this quantum of growth we see. For children below 12%, registering the 2.5 growth rate, the variance, the number of people adding onto us, was 780. For 12 to 18, 1,504, giving a 7.9% growth rate. 18 to 30, 1,600. And as you can see, for children below 12%, I think we can do better. If they were to move up to 11%, we'll have grew by 8.4%. Next slide, please. So, translating this into the districts, this is how we fared. Kajano gave us the highest of 19%, and the least from Teshin, 1%. Now let's look at the quantum of these percentages as they present. Next slide. So you see here that Sakumono gave us the highest membership of 684, followed by Oyibi 607, Hachu 886. So even though Sakumo had 12%, Hachu, Oyibi 6%, they added onto us more members than the others. Next slide. Chairperson, this is the slide I want us to look closely at. It shows the rates of our growth from 2018 to 2021. The graph is going up, but is that the pace we wanted? From 2018 to 2019, we added 1.6. 2019 to 2020, we added 1.6. 2020 to 2021, we added 1.5. If the target is 10%, then we are going to hit this by 2025. But I believe, like we mentioned, if we can work on the children's service, we can go faster than we are going. Size of district population. So again, Teshin is leading with 8%, Hacho 7%, Osu 6%, and the least is Kajano and Nima. Next slide. Ratio of ministers. Accra Central has the highest, where one minister is seen to 1,228 members, followed by Osu, La, Teshin. But in the presbytery, the average is 773. For agents, next slide. For agents, we have one agent is seen to Osu, 1,159, followed by Teshin, 570. Next slide. Presbyters, we have Osu, 101 presbyter is seen to 182, Tema Community 2, 118, and Accra Central, 105. Next slide. This time, communicants, we don't have any negative. Next slide. In conclusion, as you saw in the graphs, we have more females, 59%, than males. A third of the population are adults, 40 years and above. Teman District has the largest membership, 8. Tashin District has the largest. Akajano recorded the highest growth rate of 19%. Next slide. Recommendations. Chairperson, the first one that we render is the use of the rule book should be encouraged to capture the personal data of every member of the congregation. Every member. Children's Service, Junior Youth, YPG, YAF, adults. Congregations should hold on with the updates of membership statistics and wait for a direction from the GAO. All congregations must be encouraged to have and use a membership database to manage the membership statistics. However, we must all await the ERP database from the GAO, as that is the official database to be used by the church. The generational growth rate of children below 12 years must be improved to yield the desired impact. The adults added over 3,000 members last year. We should be encouraged to do more to add onto our numbers. Papa Chair, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will take a motion for both Part A and Part B of the report by the clerk. The Presbytery lay rep on the General Assembly Council.
Thank you, Papa. I want to move that the clerk's report to session be accepted for consideration. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Motion by the lay rep on GAC, seconded by the Reverend Dr. William Kolikwe. Thank you. The report of the clerk is therefore referred to the workshop group for discussion and recommendations brought before the House. Thank you. Clerk, I go once again. We will move on now to responses to remissions from General Assembly Clerk, from the General Assembly Council, sorry. The General Assembly Council sent us some remissions which were brought to the attention of the districts. And I'm sure you have looked at them. I see that the responses are from page 8. We would invite the clerk now to present the responses.
Chairperson, the remissions and the justifications are well documented in this booklet. They are quite long, but I guess because we've sent it to the district, they have looked at it, and so we may not need to go through them, only to go to the responses that they offered. However, I want to say that only 13 districts sent response. So we may need to actually ask them, those who did not, if they have to respond here, please. So I go with the first one, the celebration of the traditional week. Accra Central. Accra Newtown, please. Accra Newtown, please. That both a traditional week and a traditional Sunday be celebrated across the PCG congregations as move to empower our identity as African Christians. their justification that the celebration of Traditional Week Day have been well received in congregations and traditional areas where these practices have been initiated. The next one is Ashalebochi District. Reverend Chairperson, they have agreed that the Traditional Week be celebrated. Atomic Hills, they also accepted. Joe Wulum, the remission is accepted. La, accepted, but should not be put on the almanac. Commission Food, support the idea of a Traditional Week celebration. R2 also was accepted, but with some conditions. Sakumono accepted because it's a good idea. Taifa, Traditional Week is accepted. Tema Community 1 District, accepted. Tema North, accepted, but we must be cautious in actually practicing it. Tema Mahian District, accepted. Teshin, accepted. Thank you, Chairperson. These are the districts that have sent their response.
Thank you, Clerk. So the responses to the remissions have come, and basically all the districts that have submitted responses have agreed to the remission, albeit with some provisos, which we'll be discussing. Now, if 13 have submitted, then we have 27 plus 1, it means that less than 50% of districts have submitted responses. And I think that is very unfortunate, because these remissions were sent to us before the district sessions, and I know that the clerk reminded all districts before this Presbytery session. And I'm so surprised that districts refused to respond. However, I will not be inquisitorial in my approach by asking each district to come and tell me why they did not submit responses. The matter has been brought back to Presbytery session, and I will therefore open the floor. Generally, most districts have agreed. The difference I see is that some districts have drawn attention to the fact that they would want the celebration not to be put on the almanac, so that congregations or districts will decide. Others seem to have agreed to the remission in its other state. I would allow for some comments, but before I do so, I would want to invite La districts who made that point to explain it a bit to us. Is La district here, sir? Thank you.
Our problem is that when you look on the church's almanac, it's too loaded. It's too loaded. And we have also realized that when we come to Ga Presbytery, when it comes to some of the festivities of our war and the rest, some districts or congregations are trying to come up with their own educating their members and even the general public with lectures, seminars, and the rest. So we felt that it is something that is coming up, and we needed to encourage it and motivate the districts to really come out with things like that, so that we all benefit from that. We also realize that some of the towns that we find ourselves in, they have chieftaincy issues and the rest. And sometimes relating to them even becomes a problem. But when we are encouraged, maybe through these kind of programs, we may find a middle way of relating better with them, and maybe eventually we could also influence them in the things that separates them and creates a confusion in the town. So that's exactly what we talked about.
Okay, so in order not to add on to the almanac, the already loaded almanac, you think that congregations and districts should be allowed to celebrate on their own?
Yes, please.
I guess that's what I'm hearing. Okay, so I'll now open up for comments and discussions. I'll take Mama Osofo Victoria Kaiwayo, and then followed number 2 is the Reverend Emmanuel Obinto, and then the lay rep is number 3, before I decide on the course to take. Thank you. Well, yes, you want to look at the content. If you take the order of proceedings, page 9, I think that the proposed order of the program content is there, page 9, page 10, and deals with program content and Sunday traditional service. So the remission has taken care of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 2.
Mr. Chairman, from Temanov, we are saying that already this celebration is being done in some level at various congregations in their own way. But we are saying that we should not hype it to the extent that people will give different meaning to what we mean. Because traditions, cultures differ from one place to the other. Papa, if you look even on the almanac, our liturgy, the Ghana Presbytery did well and came up with a widowhood right. But people are still insisting that that is not their culture. They want their traditional way of having widowhood right be made. If you put this on the almanac, what interpretation would they give to? Papa, when you come to funeral, I happened to attend a funeral at La, around Pamwa Junction in February. The deceased happened to be a cousin's daughter. In fact, painful death, she completed JHS and then one morning complained of headache and died at 37. They belonged to the Pentecost church and they had the service outside. And I saw a woman with some ladies holding lime and kitchen knife. And when the casket was going to be covered, the woman started reciting some cantations and the ladies were putting the lime, and then she put the knife alongside the body. And I heard her say, as you go, don't go and sleep. And I said, this is non-Christian. And I asked whether there was no Pentecost elder to stop this. And I introduced myself, even though I was not in Clerk, that I'm a Presbyterian. Then the woman who was citing the candidacy said, I am also a Presbyterian, and we accept it in our congregation. So I asked her, which congregation do you belong? I pushed and pushed, she never mentioned. Papa, that is how she interprets tradition, way of burial. A station that I left, not quite long, a men fellowship member demoted himself from communicant to non-communicant because he was installed as a chief and was given a traditional wife. So he had become a polygamist. Papa, we know that in the north, girl mutilation or circumcision is a tradition. And we are speaking against it. Even the country says it's a crime. Yet people say it is their tradition. So, Papa, for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana to put traditional celebration on the hallmark, what are we celebrating? What do we really mean? Because if you go to my hometown, traditions are interpreted differently. Even when you are software, you go to they will tell you, I'm ready and say no. Papa, we need to be very careful here. We have come very, very far. We have come a long way to bridge the gap between tradition and the faith of our belief. People want to go back and do their own thing. We should be very careful not to increase the nominal membership of the church. We should be very careful not to increase the non-communicant members of the church. As we celebrate them now, let's leave them. Let's leave them to, if it is dressing, traditional dressing, let it go. But if you give it a color that traditional celebration, Papa, what are we celebrating? Who is to direct what will be done and what not to be done? Because we have bad traditions and good cultures as well. Which one are we talking about here? Papa, we have come a long way. So I want to plead that let the status quo remain and not to hype this issue to put it on the altar. I would have talked more, but
thank you. Thank you. Papa Lee.
Thank you, Papa Chair.
And I hope the recorders are taking note of the issues that are being raised.
Like Papa Osofo just concluded, traditional weeks or traditional Sundays have been held in various forms in a lot of our congregations already. I see this revision that came and the guidelines, the supporting guidelines that should be accepted is to try to sanitize the processes. What are the possibilities and all those things. So because this is happening, the church is seeking to provide guidance. And there's a lot of guidance in the document which are given. And the document does not appear to raise the issues in the way and the fears that our brother is entertaining. But I think it's important to note those fears, that we should not be taking our church and going to give it to the traditional people and asking them to tell us how to run or to indulge in things that we have considered to be unchristian. That caution should be strong, and in that way I'm in line with our brother. But as a church, and we say that, okay, officially the church recognizes what is happening already, I think it's a good thing. And providing guidance, and possibly after this, probably more guidance will come as we report on these things, and then we will see where to go. And I think our objective as Christians, as Presbyterian Church of Ghana, is to influence society. Take what is good in our cultures. Like we said already, we do the food, we do symposia. Traditionally in Osu, Papa Professor does the annual talk on the homo war related to tradition. Recently, we see the Lamo being tried to be brought into the church in a way that they sing Christian songs and all those things. So this is a way in which the church is trying to influence tradition without looking down on tradition. So I think deciding that this is accepted in the church as a principle, I think I'm okay with it. The second point about putting it on the almanac or not, there's an issue which came, we are developing these things, the almanac is packed. That is one. Okay, there's this second fear that if you put it on the almanac, if you don't take care, it will be misinterpreted, is the second. Again, why it should not be on the almanac? The third view I have on that is that because our traditional festivals vary from place to place, and some people will want to relate some of these traditional weeks to the festivals, probably hold it during the festival period. And so in August, we are having the Accra along the coast, having their homo moving from one place to place. So if Teshi decides that our traditional week will be within the homo week so that we can do Panlamo and other things, then they are free to do it. But the week Teshi people are doing their homo and Panlamo is different from how Tema people are doing it. So that means Tema people can also pick a different week if they think that is okay with them. If you go to the other regions, they may have other festivals which are, it's not like homo, and they may have certain things they want to mimic and associate and use those opportunities to influence the way society behaves. So for that reason, and for me, I see that as a strong, compelling reason why probably it should not be on the almanac, but encouraged and accepted as a principle, so that people may choose the period that is best suited for them in doing these traditional weeks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Papa Lee. Is Reverend Professor Philip Lai here? Thank you. Prof, I want to invite you to speak to this matter, although I'm not too sure whether you have studied the document.
Yes, thank you very much.
I have asked Professor Philip Lai because this actually falls within his remit.
Thank you very much. Yes, when I got a copy of the order of proceedings, I was enthused to see this as part of the discussion that we held during this special session. I was enthused because, as we've all, noticed, this is something that is ongoing. It is not only the Presbyterian Church of Ghana that is involved in this. In fact, quite a number of churches are now having, quote-unquote, traditional Sundays. But what they are doing, or what they do, is a matter of concern. And as has been noted in the proceedings, the memo, the justification. There is a need to give some guidance. I've often said that our people like celebrations. Everybody likes carnival. And our people get very excited when they see things that appeal to who they are. It's everywhere. But I think that what we need to do is to have, prior to so I called for my liturgy book to be given to me because there's something here in the old liturgy that many of us haven't seen. And I'll read just portions of it. I think that it is important that prior to the traditional Sunday, there should be a week of teaching and engagement, so that the sort of things that you intend to do on a Sunday, you have opportunity to engage and then to do some teaching on it. If it is the food that you eat, the clothing that you wear, some aspects of our culture, there should be some biblical basis for what you're doing, so that it doesn't round into just some kind of celebration. People love it, but if you ask them why they are doing it, it's very, very difficult. I mean, something that Reverend Into, mentioned, somebody holding a knife with, lime and all that. I mean, you don't understand what the person is doing. Because the person herself may not understand what he's doing. It is only when we engage. And if we don't engage, these things will continue. They will continue. I have with me the old liturgy book. This is the old one. Order for a service of Christian worship to be held at the traditional yearly festival, Ojura Homowo Manyin. This is the 1965 liturgy. And what they did was to provide notes. You see, very few of our liturgical traditions have notes attached to them. But this one has notes. And I presume that those who framed this knew that the people who would use it would need some guidance. So there are notes attached to it. It's the kind of thing that maybe this document is trying to do. Obviously, people need direction. They will need to understand why they should be doing what they're doing. And I think we've come a very long way. And like Engineer Hesse said, as a church, we have the onus depends on us to impact and to influence society. We've drawn attention to Reverend Eo Tete's big Ojemo, which is a fantastic thing. Quite a number of ministers are using it, not only within the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. I mean, other churches are using it. So we need to take on these things one by one. Of course, there are certain things within culture that, drive us away from Christ. Others draw us to Christ. We should be able to sort out those things that would get us closer to Christ without necessarily denigrating who we are. Because sometimes it's ridiculous, that you should be denied of your own name, who you are. You should be delivered from your own name. Some so ridiculous. And people are teaching these. Yesterday, I was sitting in session when I had a call from Reverend Mama Makwi. And so I picked the call. And he had a problem. He said, Prof, some of our people are preaching that the word Omanye is an idol. Omanye is an idol. So he's so confused. He said, but this is not correct. This is not right. So I told him I would need to meet him so we can give some documents. So people are getting concerned. So we don't need to leave these things out. We need to engage them. And maybe to round up, an institute, and I'm referring to the Akrobi Christian Institute, we have now courses on gospel culture engagement. In fact, it's a very big area. And Reverend Poplampo, gave a series of lectures, on this. And quite a number of our church people were involved. Somehow, there's a hold up on this. But I think we can go back to it, especially now that these things are going on, so we can engage. And if people need further training, we are available to support them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Just to respond to some of the issues that have been raised, I think that if you run through the remission, for example, on program content, we are told what will happen in the course of the week before the Sunday. And these include symposium on topics that border on the tension between gospel and culture, drama and traditional dances to highlight types of performing arts in Ghana, teachings on traditional symbols that enhance our understanding of Christian doctrine, relationship between the celebration of traditional festivals, reflections on some traditional practices, puberty rites, naming, funeral, and introductions to some traditional games. I guess, is Pilolo a traditional game? And also preparation of traditional dishes. So these are some of the things we could engage in the course of the week. And then on the Sunday, we may invite the local traditional rulers. They say we may. And then members of the congregation are made to dress in their traditional costumes. That basically is what the celebration is about. So, and on the day, the activities that will be incorporated into the order of service include singing of praises to God with traditional drums and dancing. So, Bobo Bokete, Adoa, prayers for the traditional leaders, prayers for the abolition of bad cultural practices, and a talk or discussion on selected issues affecting the gospel and culture. So basically, that is what the remission is about. And we would have to say whether we want to accept this or not. Prof, I think that the entry in the old liturgy book actually developed following the Oforianta Memorandum. Yeah, when the church began to respond to Nanase Oforianta's memorandum, then they developed first, I think in the 1950s, they developed something, and then later it was included in this one, this liturgy book. So yes, like the, I'm not too sure who said that. I think it was Papa Binto. He said we have come very far. There are a lot of things that have happened over time. We need to quickly make a decision. Following the discussion, I have isolated two issues. The first one is whether we want to have a traditional week or traditional Sunday. And then the second one is whether we want it to be on the almanac. I hope you are clear with me. So we'll take a quick decision on this matter. I will need a motion so that I'll put it to a vote. So somebody to move on whether we should have a traditional week. The thing is traditional week or traditional Sunday? Traditional week. Yeah. Anybody? Yes. Oh, Mama Rose. I've been looking through and your hand has, let me see you now. You are looking like traditional week already. Yes, a brief remark, yes.
Thank you very much. Sir, I'm going to move that we accept it. But I just want to caution us that the moment we make these things into a week or a Sunday, we celebrate it and then we leave it until the next year. Okay. So Sunday we are going to celebrate mothers, and many of us will not think of our mothers again until the next year.
At least they get one.
I am praying that with this one we will do our best to go beyond the 1 week a year. Okay. And one that I want to draw our attention to is the issue of language. As for the Ghana Dangbe languages, they are almost dead now. We still, because of the numbers of Akan people in Ghana, we still have a lot of people speaking Akan. So we think it's alive. But our children, they don't speak it. Someone will be walking with the child, you ask what to say, and the mother is like, Yesue, say what you say. But when I say, how are you, there is no prompting. The child quickly says it. So I think that we need to be aware of these things and treat them as a day-to-day vital issues. Because when your language dies, you are in trouble. Akrofi treats it as something that we could read and preach in and things like that. But now the danger is that our children and our grandchildren don't even understand it. On this note, I move that we accept the traditional week celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was the motion. Anybody to second? I see Sofu Gabriel. ACB Gabriel Dankwa. Okay, he seconds the motion, and he's already also in a traditional. I think because of the traditional thing, you decided to be in your traditional dresses today. Okay. Okay, Friday wear. Next time, Presbytery session will be from Sunday to Tuesday. All right, any counter motion? Any counter motion? Yes, Papa.
Papa, I am of the view that already somehow we are celebrating traditional Sunday, as it were. But I am not agreeing that we put it on the almanac.
No, we are not there yet. Not there yet. Papa, we are not there yet.
Let me then reframe it.
Yeah, no, Papa, there are two things. I'm taking now a motion for the celebration of traditional week. After that, I'll take a motion on whether we can put it on the almanac or not. I hope you get me.
All right, Papa, but if we decide on this, then automatically we have accepted that it should be.
No, sir, because actually the remission itself, if you read the remission itself, in program content, it says, and I want to read that point, congregations can set a week for the celebration of this all-important activity, dubbed traditional week. Alternatively, the General Assembly Council can decide on a particular week within the year for the celebration. So there are two things there. So that's why I have isolated them, and I'm saying that let's first decide on whether we should have a traditional week. If we decide, then we will say whether as Presbytery we want it to be put on the almanac or we want to leave it to the congregations to determine. But I hope you are with me. Thank you. So any counter motion? All right. All those in favor of the one and only motion, shall I see your hands up? Can I say that it's a unanimous decision? Thank you. So we have all agreed that there should be a traditional week. And I would want to add that because in making the motion, Mama Rose talked about language. I'll come. Okay. She talked about language. When we are couching our response, Clerk, let us add the focus on language too. I see that they've talked about other aspects of tradition. Yes, Mama Rose.
Papa, I just remember that I'm not a delegate. So I don't think I have the right has to fallen. Move.
We need a new motion. Now, all those who are not delegates, may you not forget that you are not delegates. Who would table the motion? The first motion has fallen. Please, I think the tax should show that persons are delegates. Is that it? Now, I see different colors. I see red, I see green. Which one is for the delegates? Clerk? Oh, no, the Hatrodisi minister is in green. Which one is for those in attendance? Blue. Okay, so if you don't have a red or green, I should not call you for motion. Is that acceptable? No, I'm saying for motion. Everything the whole motion has dropped. And you two, you are forgotten. Hey, Asemu. Okay, a new motion. Yes. Also Jeffrey Mingle from the OEB district.
Papa, I move that the Traditional Sunday celebration be accepted. Week be accepted.
The traditional week be accepted. I guess the same as the old motion. Seconded by, I see, is it Matilda? Is that you?
Yes, Papa.
Okay. Matilda Ziamo.
Matilda Ziamo, lay rep for car January 2nd.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? This one and only motion. Only delegates will vote now. May I see your hands up? I count it as a unanimous decision. Thank you very much. Now, we would have to take a motion on whether we want it to be on the almanac or not. I hope you understand now. So, we have accepted that as a church, traditional week should be celebrated. But should it be on the almanac or not? I'll take a motion, quick. Do I see Reverend A.L.E. Hammond, District Minister for Law?
Reverend Chair, I moved that the traditional week should not be placed on the almanac because the festivities are not happening at the same time. Hence, people will want to have their week to correspond to the festivities at their areas. Because of that, we should allow districts and congregations to come up with their own period of having the traditional week. Thank you.
So moved. Seconded by, I see a lady there. Is that Hannah? No.
Please, Reverend Mrs. Hannah Ojigmabuchi, do second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any counter motion? Yes. Suggest. At this time, we are taking motions. So if you are ready for a motion, yes. We are taking a counter motion, so you make your motion. Okay, you let me hear you. Unfortunately, we can't hear you well because somebody should help with her mic.
Thank you, Papa. Papa, I'm suggesting that we try for the next 4 years and see how it will go. Then we decided, or we think of how, whether we should put it on the almanac or not. Thank you.
So you are not bringing a counter motion?
So, Papa, what do you say?
I think what you have said, I understand.
Yes.
So it is linked to what he has said.
Yes.
For him, he says it should not be put on the almanac, so it's not on the almanac. Is that okay?
Yes, Papa.
Thank you, Madam. Any counter motion? None. Okay. All in favor? Sorry, Mr. Adai. What's happening? Is there a counter motion? Okay, please go to the mic and Mr. Adai, you want to make a counter motion? No, we are no longer discussing the matter. At this point, I'm only taking motions.
Papa, sir, there are a whole lot of issues on the almanac, but we don't celebrate them according to the date on the almanac.
I'm asking for counter motions.
That is what I'm going to make.
So make the motion.
Okay. I move that we should put the traditional week on the almanac.
Thank you. He says the traditional week should be put on the almanac. Anybody to support his motion? Yes. Mr. P.R. Adai, lay rep for Gamishin Field, has supported the second motion. So there are two motions. One standing in the name of Osafonukba Hammond, that we should not put the celebration on the almanac. And the second one standing in the name of Osafo John Bosco, that we should put it on the almanac. Motion 1, do not put it on the almanac. May I see your hands up? I would ask please take the count for us, please. Since there are two motions, we need to take account. Please, if you are not a delegate, please do not forget that you are not a delegate. The second motion, standing in the name of Asafu John Bosco, that we should put it on the almanac. Please, may I see your hands up? All right. Those who voted in favor of the very first motion that it should not be put on the almanac, 90, 70. And then those who said we should put it on the almanac, 9. So the Presbytery has decided that we will celebrate traditional week, but it should not be put on the almanac. I would hope that the recorders will help us put together the reasons that were given, so that as we go to GA, we would be able to respond appropriately. Thank you. Remission 2, Clerk.
Chairperson, the second remission has to do with rebasing of ECG membership statistics. And these are the responses. Chairperson, the second has to do with rebasing of the PCG membership statistics. And these are the responses. Accra Newtown, accepted. Ashalebutwe, accepted. Atomic Hills, accepted. Jowulu, accepted. La, accepted. Commission Food, accepted. Hatu, accepted. Sakumono, accepted. Taifa, accepted. From Tiwan District, accepted. Tamanok, accepted. Tamamahia, accepted. Teshi, accepted.
All right. Generally, all the districts that responded have accepted. Teshi added something about the church minder, and I want them to comment on it, and then I would allow for 2 or 3 comments for a decision to be made. tertiary districts.
Chairman, sir, what Teshi is saying is, when we look around, many of the congregations are using the Churchminder app for their activities. And therefore, if the church is also thinking of rebasing all the congregations, then we are saying that they should also be consulted, especially with the provider of Churchminder being a Presbyterian, so that they can work together. This is what we are saying.
Thank you. But Baba, just a small comment. Please, are you aware that the church itself has already come out with its own software? Is the tertiary district aware?
We know something started some time ago during
but
the...
you don't know how far. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. All right, so the thing is that the remission has generally been accepted by the 13 districts that responded. As for the 15 others, I don't know. But I would allow for a few comments and then we'll make a decision. The floor is open. Please, if you want to make comments, you make the comments at the time I allow for that discussion. When it comes to motions, then we take motions. Thank you. Yes, Papa Lee. Please, before you speak, may I find out if anybody else wants to speak so that I can identify the speakers? 1, 2. All right, done. Papa Lee.
Papa Chair, the only reason why I'm speaking is so that it's clear that we all understand what the word rebasing means. That's the only reason why I'm speaking. Normally, when we are collecting the annual statistics, it's expected that this will come from a database of membership, or what we call the roll book. That's the expectation. And this database or roll book, the expectation is that it's being updated regularly, in the sense that when somebody dies, it's not counted as a member anymore. When somebody leaves, is transferred out, it's not counted as a member anymore. If somebody is transferred in, it's counted as a member. If a new child is born and is baptized, it's counted as a member. If somebody comes to join the church from any other place, through any other means, he becomes a member, his name goes into the roll book. And so when we are doing the statistics, we are counting the people who are in the church at that time. Those who are dead are taken out, those who are left are taken out. So if you are doing this regularly, then there's never a need to do a... Hello? Your data will always be up to date. Unfortunately, a lot of congregations are not doing that. So after a while, they realize that when they go and they start looking for the people they call members, they can't find them. Then they call for a re-registration. And there are some churches, congregations where every year they say we'll do a re-registration so I will know who our members are. And this is what the church doesn't want us to do. It doesn't want us to be doing a re-registration every year. Because when somebody's name comes into your roll book, the person's name is there till the person dies, unless the person says, I don't want to be here again. Then you take the person's name out. So you don't take people's name out because when you did a re-registration, the person didn't come to re-register. Again, the only time you can take people's name out is that you know who you are talking about. You follow the person for 3 years. And after 3 years, you have no doubt as a session that the person has left the church. then the session then can decide that this particular member is no more a member. So once somebody's name goes into the database, that name is not out till the person dies, the person is transferred out, or the person comes to tell you that I don't want to be a member of the church, or after all effort to bring that person back, 3 years process, the person, for all intents and purposes, is no more a member of the church, and the session can decide. So this is what we are calling a rebasing. So there's no re-registration anymore. That's what the church, no re-registration. People are in the database, and if they are dead and you are taking their names out, that is all right. If they've left and you are taking their names out, that is all right. But don't change, don't take anybody's name out of the database until you are sure that the person is no more a member of the church. Now, because you are doing the ERP, which now will computerize all the data, it will behave like the church minder. Will computerize all membership data in the church. But this, the church recognizes that it will take time, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, because when you are asking people to update their data, it takes time. Some people are reluctant, they are slow. So after some time, probably when you've achieved about 90%, 95% or something, we'll say that, okay, even if the church membership drops, we say, okay, we accept that now it's only the data in our database who are our members. And that is the number that we reckon with. Now, hopefully, every quarter, everybody is expected to update that database and report on it through our due reporting systems. So we will not come into a situation where anybody would need to do a rebasing after that line is drawn. And it's only the GAC that will determine by this motion, remission. It's only when the GAC says that in 2025 or 2028, we have gotten a new base number for membership, and this is what we update regularly for the rest of the life of the church. So this is what this remission means. And if it's accepted here, it's accepted at GAC, that means we all understand the situation, the status quo. In fact, for me, that is the status quo already. But because other people are doing other things, the church needs to restate this so that everybody will understand and go according to the same rules throughout in terms of data management. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Number 2.
About chairperson, I want to know whether this ERP has not been deployed in some of the presbyteries. Because I remember you were telling us that the head office, Ga Presbytery and Ga West are the only presbytery left for this redeployment. And so that if Ga Presbytery comes on, automatically, what we want to do is maybe talk to Church Minor to see whether he can migrate the membership that we have onto this one. And then we are done and clean.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the information we received is what we passed on. But what we were told was that they had some challenges when they did the deployment, especially the issue of the migration, what you have just said. Because I think in its original form, it was difficult to migrate data from others. But they are now working on it in such a way that those of us, because in Ga Presbytery, majority of us use the church minder. So they are trying to work it in such a way that people will no longer have to do a re-registration, but it should be possible for you to migrate data from church minder into the ERP. So that's what we've been told, and that's why ours delayed, because this is where they can have problems. So that will be done, sir. Thank you. But generally, the issues have been brought up. I would want to take a motion on whether we want to accept this revision. A motion. Ozobo Dr. Kwe.
About chairperson, with the explanations given by the lay and the responses from the other district, I move that the rebasing remission from General Assembly Council be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kwe has moved, seconded by Catechist Dominic Boating. Catechist Dominic Boating from the Medina district. All in favor of the one and only motion, say aye.
Aye.
All against the motion, say nay. Okay, so the motion is carried and we will move on. Thank you. Let me plead with or urge my dear brothers and sisters who are here for the first time that although sometimes we will heckle you a bit, you are allowed to contribute to the discussion and don't leave it to some few people to speak. Thank you. Remission from Ashaiman.
Chairperson, permit me to read the remission from Ashaiman. We suggest for consideration of Presbytery and General Assembly extension of financial support to congregations and preaching points to help them build befitting chapels and places of worship from their quota of the new system of contribution. This is one of the factors that is causing the fast growth and expansion of the Church of Pentecost, which is worth emulating since they use a similar system of contribution which we have adopted about a year ago. Thank you.
All right, Ashaiman District, do you want to speak to this matter and whether you think it should continue to stand as a remission? Or you take it down as a recommendation? Because naturally, I think that some of these things are already happening. Is Ashaiman here? District Minister, Lay Rep. Well, since they are not here to speak to their remission, I will take it down. And I will say that generally, the presbytery, even before 50-50 started, the past officers were already supporting work at the local levels, and we have also been doing what we came to meet. At the later unappointed time, we would ask the team, the IT team, to show us what has been happening in Presbytery in terms of this. Thank you very much. So that remission is taken down. But it's unfortunate that a whole district is absent from the discussion. Ashaiman delegates. Oh. And so when I called, or you are not being asked to come and speak to the matter. Where are your Ashaiman delegates? Yeah. All right, thank you, thank you. You are here. I see that some of you are here. But you... I'm a little No, I think it's okay. It's okay. The matter has been taken down already. Yes. Would ask GAP to get ready.
Baba, the Reverend Brinyabi asked permission, but from the wrong person. There's a funeral that he has to attend. So he pleaded that he will go and come. But he shouldn't have asked it for me. access from.
Maybe he has not been told that you are out of office. Yeah, thank you. Please, we would receive our own GAP microfinance as they make a presentation to us on what is happening at GAP. I'm not talking about presentation in terms of money. They are coming to tell us about GAP microfinance. Who is speaking?
Reverend Chairman, as you indicated, we have one of our own, like our own baby, which has grown to become maybe a partner. I'm talking about GAP Microfinance, and they are here to make a presentation. But permit me to introduce the leadership or those to do the presentation. We have the Reverend Dr. Mrs. We have Dr. Mrs. British Odonko as the board chair here. We have Dr. Mrs. Vijana Mensa Onuma also here. So ably supported by the manager, Theophilus Dongote. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I don't like this podium. Do you mind if I stand this way? I really hate it. How can you just make me vanish behind the thing like that? Hello, good morning. I'm well, how are you? Good. God has been good to us. He's given us a new day, and we are here at I'm representing the board with Auntie Regina and Theo to give you a report on what your baby has done so far. We are about 8 years old now. So in the life of the Presbyterian Church, we'll be in what, JY? Or Children's Service? Hey, say ye, Akakra, Yeba. Okay, so a brief report on what has happened. The financial sector has witnessed some turbulence over the past few years. From the financial sector cleanup, which started in 2017, to COVID-19 in 2020, the terrain has been very unsettling for banks and non-bank financial institutions like GAP. By God's grace, we have weathered the storms and survived to the glory of God. An update since the last Presbytery session in 2018. Incidentally, I haven't been to this session before. Mr. Tete has been doing it, and the last time he presented was in 2018. So what we did as a board is to give you a view of what has happened between that time and now. So we bring you abreast with events, so that God willing next day when we come, we just give you a brief and then we are on. So between the last report to the Presbytery session, that was in 2018. But what has been happening is that at annual general meetings, AGMs, which happen every year, we, the board, render an account of our stewardship to the sole shareholder. Financial sector highlights between 2018 and 2020. To bring you at par with participants at the AGMs, below are some of the occurrences in the financial sector landscape. 2018. A. Financial sector cleanup. continued with the license of 8 universal banks being revoked. You all remember that, right? Secondly, Bank of Ghana issued guidelines on anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism. Directives on corporate governance were also issued. 3, the number of microfinance institutions in operation by the end of 2018 was 566. Microfinance institutions were expected as well by the end of 2018 to increase their capital requirement to 2 million by December 2018. And Mr. Tete reported in that meeting in 2018 that we were working hard to make sure we get there. Now, what happened in 2019 on the financial landscape? The banking sector cleanup was extended to the non-bank financial sector, and the licenses of 347 microfinance institutions were revoked. The reasons adduced amongst others were poor corporate governance, weak credit administration, poor risk management practices, diversion of customer deposits into unproductive ventures, and general non-compliance with prudential norms. Thus, at the end of the year, the number of MFIs in operation dropped from 566 to 180. GAP was included in the operational MFIs. And then another thing that happened in 2019 was that the collapse of some institutions which were regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And that is why some funds are locked up. And I'm sure some of you fell victim to it. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic and its associated lockdown affected the operations of all companies, including MFIs. The churches were not spared. Bank of Ghana therefore admonished that we should grant moratorium and restructure the loans granted to clients to ease the burden on our customers. We did that. Again, because of the COVID, there was an increase in the value of non-performing loans within the microfinance sector. And at the end of the year, it stood at 33%. What it means is that if you have given 100 cedis in loans, 33.3% of it, that was quite steep. The prudential rate is supposed to be 5%, but we are 33% on average. Now, how has GAP performed between 2018 and 2020? In response to the above I have just enumerated, this is how your company has performed since the last report to the Presbytery session. In 2018, our minimum capital was increased from 500,000 to 2,01,885 cedis. In the same way, our balance sheet increased in size from 8.2 million to 12.18 million. In 2019, due to the financial sector cleanup, we encountered challenges with waning confidence in the public about the operations of MFIs. This notwithstanding, GAP recorded a modest profit before tax of 34,675 cedis, and the balance sheet again grew from 12.18 million to 13.19 million. In 2020, because of the COVID, we didn't grant new loans during the COVID lockdown. So our net loans shrunk by 20.89% from 1.58 to 1.25 million. The moratorium we granted was between 1 and 3 months to all our existing loan clients. The income we were expecting from some of our investments did not materialize because the funds were locked up. Subsequently, due to all the above, our interest income dropped by 24.39% from 2.68 million to 2.03 million. On the back of this, due to contractual commitments we have with our depositors, we couldn't just go to them and say, we have COVID, so we'll drop your interest, the interest on your deposits. We have to play fair. We kept paying them the rates we have committed to paying them during that period. So it remained high, and at the end of the year, we made a loss before tax of 411,509 cedis. Our balance sheet therefore shrank marginally by 1.4% from 13.19 million to 13 million. In 2021, the board instituted measures to aggressively grow the loan book and turn the tides around. We couldn't afford to continue making losses. The results of the initiatives undertaken are reflected in the return to profit from a loss position in 2020. Although we are yet to come to the AGM with our audited reports, I'm happy to announce that at the end of the year 2021, to the glory of God, we have turned our loss position of 411,509 to a profit of 70,151. Notably, these are the things that we did. 1, we annualized and generally reduced our interest rates. We moved from quoting our interest rates per month to per annum, as is done by the universal banks. And therefore, our interest rates were also reduced to make us very competitive. So instead of telling you that we'll charge you 5% per month, we decided that, you see, if you do 5% per month, it comes to 60% per annum, right? That's quite heavy. So we said, no, we will not do that. We will come down. So we came down. And now for our dear ministers, we moved from 30% per annum to 20% per annum on facilities granted to you. We also give you an extended period of 24 months with no security required. Now pay 24 months, 20%. You know, the interesting thing is that the 20% is below what the universal banks are giving. And when I came through and I took the program, I saw some other companies are coming to make presentations. I beg you, don't listen to them, eh? Don't listen to them. I was very jealous. I said, why do you do this to us? Don't mind them. We have come. If you want anything, come to us. Okay. Now, because of what we did for the ministers, the loans that we disbursed to the ministers grew from 255,000 in 2020 to 1 million as at end of 2021. You see, I appreciate the fact that some of you have already committed yourselves to some of these companies. But quickly wind up. If you want, come to us. We have what we call refinancing. Come for money from us and go and pay them off and stay with us. Okay? Right. 3, we also had targeted products and services for the micro business sector. In response to the needs of our customers in the micro business space, we now have what we call the micro business loan to cater for them. Your spouses are in there. Some of them are doing some big business. Some are selling cement, whatever. They may not be the small tabletop Mekonin Torwa type. They move to another level. Let them come. Let's have a chat. The other thing we did was a prudent management of our expenses. A prudent approach was taken to the management of expenses, and this contributed in no small way to the attainment of our profit for the year 2021. As a result of the above, the balance sheet saw a marginal increase from 13 million to 13.03 million at the end of 2021. Management. Mr. Fred Smatabe, who has been with the company since inception, retired in 2020. After a 1-year extension, Mr. Abe finally left in 2021. And Mr. Theophilus Dongote, if you can please rise for them to see you, with the approval of the Bank of Ghana, has been appointed as a substantive branch manager of GAP Microfinance. (2022), our 8th year of operation. We are still in children's service, but digital expansion. We are telling you what we want to do. We are almost through with the migration of our software, and this is expected to aid our expansion drive as it will provide the robust support needed for our operations. We are in this year targeting expansion into other presbyteries. We are not content with Ghana Presbytery and Ghana West alone. We want to go to every presbytery in Ghana. Our rules of operation don't allow us to go beyond Ghana. In fact, the law doesn't even allow us to set up physical branches beyond Accra. That is the rule. So, as for technology, you know, get like so we go fly. So we'll ride on the back of technology and get to the other presbyteries. Now, this is what we are going to do. We are going to expand our customer base and grow the company. In order to do this successfully, we are deploying all the social media platforms to reach out to our existing and potential customers. Please, 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 you will be receiving alerts on your phones. When you see it, don't delete it. The least you can do is to pass it on and create awareness about GAP. I beg. Are you with me? Wait, and your fake news. It is live. So when you see it, don't delete. Press pass and let it go. That is, if you have already come to us. If you are not with us, let it be an alert for you to come to us. 3, we want to extend our loans to the catechists. We have roped in the catechists as part of the agents to benefit from the package to the ministers. We are looking forward to serving you with our hot dish of special loans for catechists. Catechists, Muwaha. Don't stay back, come. We are waiting for you. We will work to grow the shareholders' value and ensure that in the least, by the end of the year, we will correct our impaired capital by God's grace. We, in this year, have already had what we call our customer service survey. Every year we try to do it. We stopped doing it when the COVID came. What we do is to have a company who would call you mysteriously and find out how sweet is our service. I'm happy to announce that the feedback you gave to us is so invaluable. And we are using it to make our services better. Your valuable comments and suggestions made. We have already started working with it, and it will make banking with us easy and pleasurable. Our areas of concern, which I would want you to note. 1, we are very mindful of the apprehension of some ministers to take loans. See, some ministers, you don't like taking loans. This may be due to reputational issues. Oshofu the only loan. Oshofu doesn't take loans. No problem. Some of you are unwilling to pay interest on funds raised. No go feel that you will give to God. You don't want to give to us. Why? There's no free lunch. So come. You see, what saddens me is this. Sometimes you may have money sitting in an account as a fixed deposit because of the reputation that I don't want to take any loan. Let me be very honest with you. If you take the loan and you're going to use it to buy cocoa and Cartier, don't come. Okay? But if you are taking the loan and you are taking it to go and do something productive, it is worth your while. So if you are building and you are stuck and you are not able to finish, why are you waiting for the next, what do you call it, mini harvest? You understand the mini harvest, right? You don't understand the mini harvest? Yes. You understand. Or the major harvest. Whichever one you are waiting for. That transfer, you are stuck. So please, for heaven's sake, come and take the facility. However, because of the rising cost of building materials and the need for all your ministers to secure their retirement, we encourage you to come and talk to us. Secure your retirement. Don't go on retirement and go and live in the family house. We want you to succeed, so please come. Secondly, another area of concern for us is your attitude, the attitude to GAP as an MFI. We appreciate the dynamics associated with managing church funds, dealing with the session, treasurers, and everything. However, if you do not believe in your own institutions and are unwilling to support it to grow, who should? If you don't believe in us, who should believe in us? Remember, in life, no one will love you more than you love yourself. We therefore encourage you to love God and take us as one of your own. Come, save or borrow from us for your projects. Our doors are always open. And so if you have any doubts, please come talk to us or invite us over, and we'll gladly honor such invitations. Remember, your success is our success. To conclude, the growth and sustainability of GAP, your company, we are just servants serving you, hinges on the support from each one of you as individuals, a session, or a group. Please continue to support us in prayer. And also, as admonished in James chapter 2, verse 16, to keep us warm by patronizing our products and services so that together we can succeed. Don't just pray for us. Come, keep us warm by patronizing our services. God bless you. Thank you so much. We want to say a big thank you for your support so far. And this is from the family side. On behalf of the family of Erasmus and Auntie B and the girls. That's how we are called now. From Auntie B and the girls, we want to say a big thank you. You were awesome. You supported us in prayer, your visits, your presence, your prayer. Your prayers are holding us up. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We would invite the chaplain for the day to pray for the leadership of GAP Microfinance, after which she will take us through the intercessory prayers.
Shall we please pray? Father in heaven, we are so much grateful to you for the gift of life. Father, you have sustained our brothers and sisters up till now. Father, financial institutions went through so many challenges, but by your grace and with their excellent management, GAP has been sustained up till now. It is just by grace, so we say, thank you, Lord. We pray that you continue to grant them wisdom, knowledge, understanding, insight into all that they are doing, so that GAP Microfinance will continue to grow from grace to grace. We thank you. You have never disappointed us, so we know that you will never disappoint them. It is my prayer that you continue to hold their hands, walk with them, guide them through all that they do. At the end of it all, we'll give you all the glory and honor. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Shall we please rise up and then continue with our intercessory prayers? We please sing Presbytery Hymn 518.
Mama, you can come up and lead from here. Thank you.